How's it going, everybody? Oh man, my TV's on. My bad. All right. So I want to say hello to everybody right quick as soon as I get my shit together. I'm sorry about that. And I want to say hello to everybody as soon as I get, again, my shit together. Okay, Caleb, my man. How we doing, dude? Nikki Venable. Bang Bang Kiss Kiss 007. Hello to you as well. Ramona Harpoon. Nikki Venable, I am glad that you made it. Just Shelly, save Robbie, dude. I'm glad you're here anyway. Jack's mom. All right. So we're I'm gonna play something here. I'm actually gonna play a few videos here because there's a lot of different perspectives on this case. And I want to be very, very clear. First of all, the stuff that we're going to be seeing on these videos, guys, this stuff is going to be pretty graphic. And you will be seeing people getting shot. So if you are squeamish in that sense, I do not recommend that you watch it. I do recommend that if there are any children within your immediate environment to not watch this or somehow separate yourselves from children, because this is part of the world that is unfortunately a reality right now, and it's very ugly, but I don't think that it's a necessary thing to see unless it is something that we are genuinely trying to understand, which I believe that we are. Give me 1 second here. Right, I'm sorry about that. So right now we're going to go over a video released by the Washington Post. Uh, and before I do that, I want to say I'm going to try. I have my opinions on this. But again, this is something that has been made into a very outright political thing. And I want to be very clear about something. I am neither a liberal nor a conservative. Uh, I believe in. I am a patriot, and I believe in the Constitution. And I feel that the Constitution is one of the greatest things ever written in history. Our Bill of Rights as well. These are foundations of what makes this country. They're guidelines as to how to keep our country fantastic, and keep it the freest country in the world, and the greatest country in the world. And we have been slowly slipping from this. And I blame both sides. If I'm being completely honest, I'm blaming both sides. Uh, and and I'm having a hard time. I want to make it clear that I'm having a hard time understanding everything that's happening right now. Things are completely and totally crazy, and it's looking as though the mainstream left has ventured into the radical left. And I say that because I want everybody right now. I want just to prove to you something. I want everybody listening right now to get on your device, whatever other device that you got besides listening here, or open a new window or whatever you got to do. And I want you to type in Antifa's website, antifa.com, www.antifa.com. Very simple. It is their website, right? And then you tell me what pops up. And I'm going to give you guys a minute while you do that. So I want everybody to please just humor me, especially people that are participating in chat. Those of you who are participating in chat, I want you all to type in, whether you see somebody type it in or not, I want you all to type it in, what you see when you type in Antifa.com. Hey, Lupa. I see people in chat are seeing what I saw. Does anybody see anything wrong with this? Now, in the sense of, freedom of speech, oh, it's great. Sure, you can do whatever you want. But does that not make people uncomfortable? It makes me uncomfortable. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It makes me uncomfortable because, as far as I know, Antifa has been, or is on the verge of at least, being listed as a domestic terrorist organization. And they just completely redirect you to Joe Biden's page. I mean, I find that to be a little disturbing, because that directly implies that Joe Biden is openly supporting Antifa. It doesn't outright say it because it's Antifa's page that's redirecting it to Joe Biden's page. Joe Biden's page is just kind of like, they get to have plausible deniability and say, well, whatever people do with their own websites is their business. But I mean, would you want to be, if you were the running against the president of the United States to win his seat in the White House, in the Oval Office, if you were campaigning against him so that you could take his seat in the Oval Office over the next 4 years plus, would you want to be tied to a terrorist organization? Would you want to have that implication? I mean, I I remember, all I'm saying is I remember a time where that was, what the hell is that? Hell no. That's just how I feel about it. All right. That went out. I guess we'll move on. I just wanted to make a point. We are at war, people. We are at war. And I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into my opinions on where we are right now. But first off, we're going to discuss this Kyle Rittenhouse situation that everybody's talking about. Let's not talk about the 50 plus children that were recovered in both Ohio and in Georgia. Let's not talk about how let's not flood the mainstream media with a story like that, where U.S. Marshals have just completely and totally made a major dent in human trafficking. They just sent a message saying, we're coming. This ends. We're done with this shit. And those are federal agents. And those are under Donald Trump's presidency, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not particularly fond of Trump. I wish that he would speak a little bit more presidential, but then there are times where I'm glad he doesn't. So I'm going to be honest about that. I'm going to be honest that there are times where I look at this man and I think, man, I wish he would be more of a politician, only because it would make me feel more comfortable. But there are other times where I'm glad that he's not being political at all in the way that he speaks. He doesn't sound like a politician when he addresses other politicians who he does not respect. So I have right now I have a love-hate thing for Trump. And yet I haven't completely decided that I'm going to vote for him or not, but I'm definitely not voting Biden. I'm just not. I'm not voting Biden, because to me, it doesn't make sense to vote Biden. And I'm going to get into all that too. I'm going to get into all that. And I'm not here to promote Trump. I'm here to tell you to vote however your heart feels. Just vote. Just vote. However your heart feels, do it. Great. Awesome. But can you all hear? Type of one if you can hear. I'm not sure if I hit the share audio thing. All right, cool. All right. Thank you. I love that. As look at what it says here. I love this right here. This is very, very funny to me. This is this is very self-declared militia members and counter protesters had descended on the city. So this is the Washington Post, which is a very well-known liberal media source for news, and and it's just, I love how these little subtle things, these little subtle wordings, these are why these are writers. These are why they're wordsmiths. So self-declared militia, first off, let's break that down. The self-declared militia members and counter protesters had descended on the city. So the self-declared militia, it just implies, like, who the hell do these people think they are when they're not deputized by anyone? Now, I'm going to knock something out of the way here real quick. There's something that I have yet to see on any news source, but I heard through the grapevine, and I just want to make it very, very clear. It is a rumor at best. Okay, because I somebody told me that, and that same person told me it's just a rumor. I don't know, and I haven't heard it anywhere else. But the rumor is that I'm speaking of is that Kyle Rittenhouse and his buddies there tried to walk into the police station or whoever, City Hall or wherever, and asked to be deputized prior to this evening in question, the 25th. So if that's true, I'm seeing what I'm seeing when I watch these interviews, which we'll get to as well. This covers I couldn't find the entire interview, but I'm going to go over the interview here. Well, Billy, I'm not going to get into that with you here. I still stand by what I said back then at the time. But at the same time, where we are now is nowhere where we were 4 years ago, my man. So this Trump 4 years ago and Trump now, that's, the world and the country was not even, if you would have went back 4 years ago and told somebody that this shit was going on in 2020, they'd be like, what? What are you smoking? They just wouldn't. Nobody would. This COVID thing, nobody would buy that. Everybody's buying into it. That's the whole thing. I don't even think liberals would buy. If you went back to 2016 and told a bunch of liberals that COVID-19 was going on right now, and you explained every detail about how it's affecting us and where we're at and all the numbers that we have, they would go, why are people freaked out about it? It doesn't make sense. I'll bet you anything. But there's no way to settle that bet because I don't have a time machine. So I guess we'll just have to, you'll have to live with my shitty loose theory. But yeah, this is crazy. You can't even compare the 2016 election to this one. You can't. So now I love that. Like, so if Kyle Rittenhouse and his, group of little, militia buddies, which I don't mean to condescend. It's just, he's 17 years old. He's a damn kid. I mean, 18, you're still a kid. But at 18, here's the thing. At 18, you're legally allowed to go overseas and die and kill for your country. Right? I mean, he's 17. I mean, we're pretty much splitting hairs. I didn't do enough homework in here to like find out when the kid's birthday is. So I don't know how close he is to 18, but the thing is, we've got this kid and we've got this liberal media source right here saying that they're self-declared militia members. Now, at no point, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I heard at any point Kyle or anyone refer to themselves as militia. Or counter protesters for that matter. And when we watch him interviewed, I'll explain why. And then I love how they said how they descended on the city like it rained rednecks. You know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden you've got all these, and they just parachuted out of the sky, out of these bombers, and then just descended on the city. I mean, and I love how they word that because they want it to be, they want it to come off and imply like they're here to somehow throw a monkey wrench into the protesters' First Amendment rights. They want to somehow screw that up when, it's not, so far I haven't seen the right when a left Antifa or Black Lives Matter member, I have not seen them so far rev up motorcycles to drown out the sound of a conservative speaking or of a liberal speaking. I haven't seen conservatives. Well, actually, that's not true. I did see that once. There was a bike rally. Antifa tried to protest a bike rally, and it didn't work out very well for them. So I did see that one time, which I thought was pretty humorous. But there was also there's also the fact that I've just never seen them with the conservatives with their bullhorns just hitting that obnoxious sound, that just obnoxious while someone's trying to talk. I just haven't seen conservatives doing this when they protest or when they counter protest. But that's how I take that word, counter protest. I take that word counter protest as somebody that's trying to disrupt someone else's protest. And this happens all the time. You have neo-Nazis. This has been happening forever, that neo-Nazis always have counter protesters. And I'm glad they do. You got to send the message back. In my personal opinion, let's face it, the whole neo-Nazi thing is disgusting. It's gross. Racism is gross. And anybody that somehow promotes it and glorifies it, well, you're a shitbag, in my personal opinion. But you do have the right to express it. You do in a non-violent fashion. You have the right to discuss and openly admit that you are a racist shitbag. So that's your American right. And I love this country because I'm always going to see something that I don't like, but I've got enough testicular fortitude to say, you know what? I may not agree with what they're doing, but I love this country where whatever that I say that they hate, I have the right to say just as much as they have the right to say what they have to say, and I hate it. I love that freedom. I'm a big fan of that shit. And I don't like to take it for granted. And I don't really respect people who take it for granted and use it to their advantage when it's convenient for them, but do not want to give that same respect back to somebody else who has just as much of a right to that freedom as they do. So I have an issue with that. And this is my main gripe with the left right now. Now, the right, there are far right people that are answering back to this in the wrong way. I want to be very, very clear about something, but I will actually wait to make this point after we continue this video.
Kristan T here is here at the Rundown Live, and I'm here with a bunch of militia. Do you have a good angle? Yeah, very cool. And you guys local or no? Yeah, okay, cool.
Now, this thing says that he was charged with first-degree homicide. We will see why, but there's a little bit more to it that the news is not talking about. There's a little bit more to it than your liberal friends on Facebook are talking about when they post stuff about it. And there's not quite as much to it when your far right friends post something about it. So it's a problem on both sides. But I am here as a YouTube creator who messes a little bit with true crime, but I'm going to approach this as a true crime case as far as what we know so far. So I'm gonna discuss as much about it as I know, and I'm gonna give my opinion on it. But I'm gonna try to keep it as little as political as I possibly can when I'm, kind of thinking out loud when I'm talking about this stuff, but no promises. Because let's face it, this does have political aspects to it. Politics are a key factor in this case. They just are. I don't like it, but they are.
They cause irritation to the throat and eyes, and the police are also using tear gas.
It's like tear gas?
It's worse than tear gas.
Okay, gotcha.
Anybody who lives around here doesn't want to touch this gas station.
We're protecting from the citizens, and I just got pepper sprayed by a person in the crowd.
Now, look how calm this kid is, right? And notice how knowledgeable he was. I want to keep that in mind too. Notice how knowledgeable he was. This guy didn't know what he was talking about. He asked you, what is that, like tear gas? And he was like, nah, man, it's worse than tear gas. He knows what he's talking about. This is the kind of kid think about it, had he not shot 3 people, killed 2, this would be some great content for any YouTube creator that got a hold of this kid and followed him around. Regardless, I'm saying, had he just been doing what he went there to do, or what he claims that he went there to do, that would have made great content for any YouTube creator. Think about it. I mean, as knowledgeable as he was, and as enthusiastic as he was, it's fascinating to me, because this is a fascinating kid. He's very sharp. He's very intelligent.
So you had non-lethal, but you didn't respond.
We don't have non-lethal.
So you guys are full on red.
Do you see him? He's when he says that, he says that with such conviction. We don't have non-lethal. He wants to make it abundantly clear. Now, one could look at that as him being super gung-ho and just being this, he's right now coming the closest to living out his G.I. Joe fantasies and his Call of Duty fantasies that he's ever had, right? He's right now the closest to that he's ever had. He's doing it for real. He's armed with an AR-15. He's got gloves on. He's got a medical bag, right? This kid he's thought this through. Has he not? Does anybody disagree with that so far?
ready to defend the property.
Yes, we are.
Hey,
Now, if I can ask, can you guys step back? Medical, EMS right here. I'm an EMT.
Look how focused this kid is. He's completely focused on what he's trying to do. He's looking for people to help. This right here is video proof that this kid has the intention to help other people. He proved it just now. He was like, get the fuck out of my way, camera guy. I'm trying to save people's lives. I'm trying to help people. Medic, right here. Does somebody need help? I'm an EMT. This kid went through EMT training before he was even 18 years old. Does that sound like somebody that's looking to get out there and start capping people because he fantasizes about it?
You doing out here? Obviously, you're armed and you're in front of this business we saw burning last night. So what's up?
So people are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business, and part of my job is to also help people. If there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way. That's why I have my rifle, because I can protect myself, obviously. I also have my med kit.
That's there! Hey!
He says, we're here to protect this business. We're here to protect this business. And I've got my medical bag, and we're also here ready to help people. And I brought my AR-15 rifle. Now, let me tell you something about an AR-15 rifle. And I don't know anything about guns, but let me tell you a little something about an AR-15 rifle. I went to a gun range one time. I went with my brother, some of his friends. Never been to a gun range. He happened to be in town. He was like, we're going to a gun range. You ever been? And I was like, hell no. He says, sound like something you want to do? I was like, hell yeah. I've never, and I never had any desire to fire a gun. It's just an opportunity of something that was very unusual for me to do presented itself. And I was going through a thing which I try to keep in the habit of doing even to this day, of trying something new. And so I did. And I had a good time. But I was terrible at it. I fired a 45. I fired a 9mm. I fired a 38. And then I fired an AR-15. And the AR-15 is it is the easiest. I mean, I could not hit anything that I was aiming for. I could not get used to it. It was my first time and only time shooting to this day, where I could not figure out how to manage the recoil to my benefit. So then I shot the AR-15. The AR-15 had like 4 sights to where those 4 sights line up, and there's like almost no recoil on it. And it was semi-automatic, and I just da 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 and hit perfectly what I was aiming for. A child can shoot an AR-15. And we've got one armed with one right here. So, but keep in mind, he just said that we're here to protect this business. That's what we're here to do, but we're also here to help people. And I've got my medical bag, and I'm a certified EMT, and I have my rifle because I am going to run into harm's way. Because, I mean, this kid's not stupid. He's seen riots going on in Seattle, Portland, New York, LA, Minneapolis. This kid's not dumb. He knows what he sees. He sits there like the rest of us, sitting there watching YouTube videos, loosely watching the news, but watching YouTube videos showing people hurting other people. When it's being said that it is a peaceful protest, but the reality is it's not. Sometimes it is, but these things often break out into violence. They have been consistently, and crime has gone up. And this kid does not indicate to me that he is shut off from what's going on into the world in the world around him. He's not shut off to that. He understands his environment, and he is eager to do his part because the police are being ordered to stand down in these democratic governed countries or counties or cities, major cities, I should say. Sorry about that. These politicians in these Democrat run cities are telling police to stand down. And so these people are saying, well, we're citizens and we don't want our neighborhood and our businesses being destroyed. And we have a right to protect it. And so I want to do something. Now, here's the thing. The fact of the matter is he broke the law. He broke the law initially by arming himself with a rifle, being under 18. I don't know the exact law, but I know that there is a law. And there's some sort of certificate that you can get to that gives you exception or something to that effect. And I think it only applies to short barreled rifles. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure exactly how it works. All I'm saying is I know that he broke the law as far as arming himself with that rifle. And I believe he is charged with it. But it's a misdemeanor. It's not a felony.
Got it! It's ours! We got it!
Thank you.
Absolutely!
Thank you for your cooperation. We understand what you're doing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, you're welcome.
Together. You guys are protecting that building?
Yes! This is our business.
Thank you.
We're back by the gas station again.
Now, that right here. Now, this is designed, people. This footage right here is designed to make you go, look at the cops are even helping the killer. You know, look at how nice the cops are being to this killer, to this murderer prior to the whole thing. They're trying to paint the picture that the cops enabled it. But no, I mean, let's be honest. These are cops who are being told not to do their job when it's one of the professions that you can almost guarantee yourself when you ask yourself, why do they do it? That answer, for the most part, usually, generally, is because these people wanted to make a difference in their community. These people are the type to stand up and fight for the little guy. And how do you do it? Well, you join the police force. Now, that's not all of them. And I'm sure the intention is that every time, but I think sometimes the badge and the gun may make some a little power drunk. But that's not the majority of them. Not even close, I don't think, honestly. And I hear good men. They're not going to jump out of here and they probably don't get a good look at this kid. They don't even check his ID. They don't know. But he's behaving like a very responsible young man and a very knowledgeable young man.
And
See, look, before the shootings, law enforcement offered the group bottles of water, which they tossed down from their vehicle. Hey, way to go, cops. Nice.
You need water? Seriously. Guys, far right. You need water. We'll throw you one. Thank you.
Because let's face it, they haven't broken any laws yet. And this kid is the only one breaking a law by carrying that rifle and being underage. But the way that he's carrying himself, and these being extreme times, I think the last thing that those cops are thinking is, how old is this kid? And I want to get his ID and arrest him for carrying a rifle. So these men and women are are afraid for their lives right now. If not their lives, their livelihood. So and you're gonna hate on them for throwing water, offering these people water for standing a post and defending their community, when it's just as fair to say that its citizens, the citizens of that community, are tearing it apart. Why is it wrong for citizens of that community to stand up for it and defend it, protect it? Why is that wrong? Why should the police support that when they're being told not to and it's their job?
Come on, guys, let's get out of here. Damn. You're all
Thank you. We got a couple.
I mean, and you look at him, man. This kid, he's so green, man. He's so wet behind the ears. You know what I'm saying? So it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
We'll give you a couple. We appreciate you guys. We really do.
Let's get out of here. Damn. You're all
We'll give you a couple. Thank you.
So the orders you hear about yelling no cameras, them is white boys.
All right. So this is
That's Antifa, man.
so there's this dude named Rosenbaum. Okay. There's a fella, his name is Rosenbaum, and he has an altercation with Mr. Rittenhouse. And I don't have the footage of that, but it's not difficult to find, I don't think. I just forgot to look it up, to be perfectly honest with you. But he has a he has an they have words. And you see Rosenbaum going, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. And he's loud and he's aggressive. And if you look into this kid, Kyle's eyes, you don't see an angry kid. I think at this point, it's quite clear and quite obvious to say that anybody that's trying to make this kid out to be some sort of Columbine thing waiting to happen, no, because this kid doesn't have the ingredients. He has the ingredients to be a soldier, in my personal opinion. Absolutely. What he was doing was showing leadership skills. This kid, his mind was that I'm trying to help people, but I will shoot a motherfucker if I have to. I am trained with this thing. I wouldn't dare come into a situation like this without the confidence that I absolutely know how to use this thing and I know how to use it responsibly. That is the vibe I get from Kyle Rittenhouse. And he's 17. And that's just so far what we're seeing. That's what I'm looking at from a liberal news source that's trying to make him out to be some sort of terrorist. And I'm here to tell you, this kid, that's not him.
Oh, we got a gun, baby. Oh, oh, he shot him. Yeah, that's Antifa, man.
Now, you see where it's highlighted?
Gun, baby. Oh, he shot him.
Now, that's a lot of shots. That's a lot of shots. And I don't know how many times these victims were hit. And I use the term victims very, very, very loosely. And I will explain why. Now you see him right here. Watch his actions. He's got the green shirt. He's got the medical bag. He's right there. Okay. He's on his phone. People are coming this way. He's hearing, get him, get him. So he runs. All right, he falls down on his back. He shoots. Somebody comes, hits him with a skateboard. They try to take the gun from him. He shoots him in the chest, and then he shoots this guy in the arm in the beige shorts. And at this point, he's running towards the police, raising his hands. The people are saying, right.
Hey, dude right here just shot them. Dude right here just shot all of them down there. That dude just shot them right there. That dude right here.
Now they go right past him.
Someone injured straight ahead.
They're looking for someone who's shot. They already know this kid. They know what he was up to. People are saying, well, the cops just rode right by him while he had his hands up. That's white privilege, blah, blah, blah. No. What that is they said, is someone injured up ahead? They already saw this guy walking around and he wasn't a threat. He's showing, I'm not a threat. They know they're going to apprehend this kid. They already know who he is. They've already seen him around. They made small talk with him. And he's under arrest. And he's in police custody right now as we speak. So the fact that they passed him to go help somebody else is not present itself as an issue to me. I understand it. And again, these are crazy, crazy times. All right, so guys, I hope you're comfortable because we've got a bit to go here. Okay, I've got a lot to say on this, and I'm going to show another video that breaks this thing down. And close-up shots, and it's very, very informative.
It's around 11:45 p.m. on Tuesday, August 25th in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We're in the parking lot of Car Source, a used car dealership located on the corner of 63rd Street and Sheridan Road. The city of Kenosha has been rocked by tension following the shooting of 29-year-old Jacob Blake by police officers on August 23rd. The city is experiencing a third night of unrest. A warning, these images might be disturbing to some. 2 witnesses capture footage of a shooting about to unfold in this parking lot. The first witness, standing across the street, captures a young man with a rifle running into the dealership parking lot. He's being chased. It's unclear what happened before this moment, but we do know that armed citizens were out in the streets guarding local shops. A shirtless man throws what appears to be a plastic bag in the young man's direction. A second witness captures the same man running after him.
Oh, they shoot.
The shirtless man falls.
Now, mind you, the person that chased him initially is this Rosenbaum kid. And this Rosenbaum kid was very aggressive in the footage that I saw. But here's the thing. I want everybody to pay close attention to this particular detail right here. Every single time, starting with this right here, starting with the first shooting victim, that person was shot after chasing Kyle. So that automatically, right there, makes it self-defense. So this man is running, he throws something at him, and he is armed, and he is legally, now just because he's 17 and he's breaking the law by carrying a rifle, that does not forfeit his right to defend himself. So obviously the aggressor in this situation is the person chasing after him. He's trying to run away. If you let the person who's supposedly a threat run away and get on the phone and call somebody or wave someone down, then that's how you do it. But when you chase after this person and you're trying to convince that they're the threat and you're chasing after them and they have not shot anyone, they haven't discharged their weapon in any way whatsoever, and if they pointed at you, they decided, fuck that, I'm not doing that, I'm going to run away, I'm going to flee. Fight or flight. He chose flight. But he's not a fast runner. And they caught up to him. This Rosenbaum guy caught up to him. So he shot him.
The young man with the rifle has looped around the car to see that he is now lying on the ground. It's unclear from this footage who fired the shots. The young man takes out his phone and appears to make a phone call. A man takes off his shirt to apply first aid. In later footage, we see that the man on the ground has a visible head wound. It's at this point that we can identify this individual, thanks to specific...
No, that girl, you're mistaken. Okay, you're mistaken. They chased him, but this Rosenbaum guy, the guy that was shot in the head here, had initially chased him. We just saw him running through the parking lot. He was being chased by this person, and he ended up shooting him. This is not where the altercation took place, though. Rosenbaum chased him and caught up to him, and that's when he shot him. So he was being chased.
Markers like the orange medical pack, green shirt, blue medical gloves, and a beige baseball cap. NBC News has reviewed his social media profile, cross-referenced it with earlier videos of the same individual that day, and is confident that this is 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse. He is seen running away from the scene.
Okay, so here he runs away. Now, as we talked about earlier, I believe that he feels that his life is threatened at this point, and this is why he
young
flees.
Man with a rifle and the orange medical kit is seen moments later running north on Sheridan Road. A third witness captures footage of him being chased by a group of people.
So here we are. This is what you're thinking of here. What you're not understanding, that girl, is this is not the first time he's being chased. He was chased prior to that and then ended up shooting the guy. And that's when everyone else started chasing him. He was chased by one guy, shot the guy in self-defense, and then kept running because people were going after him because they don't really know what's going on. They're thinking they're catching some right-wing radical who's gone nuts and started shooting people. So they don't know what's going on. They just see a guy with a rifle and a threat. And some are attacking him. But this is the thing, though. This kid There's nothing to indicate that he ever went in there with any malicious intent whatsoever. He came there to defend a business. I think he was put in an altercation, and he might have naively put himself into an altercation, fair, in all fairness. But once he ran away from the situation, that's where it should have been left alone.
A white shirt takes a swing at his head. He loses his hat. Rittenhouse trips and falls to the ground. Rittenhouse sits up and aims his rifle.
Okay. He sits up, aims his rifle. Guy comes over and kicks him. Then another guy right behind him comes overhead and hits him with a skateboard. Boom.
As
See
multiple
that?
men run towards him.
And shot the guy in the chest with the skateboard, shot this guy in the wrist.
We're going to play the video again and slow it down to get a better sense of exactly what happened. Here, he fires his weapon at least once towards the man with the light jeans.
Skateboard over the head.
He shoots at a second person here.
Shoots him in the head.
The man with the skateboard appears to be hit in the chest. He discharges in the chest. With the skateboard appears to be hit in the chest. The man with the skateboard.
Now look.
He shoots at.
Watch the guy with the skateboard. Okay? Watch him closely. He tries to grab the rifle. So when someone is trying to grab the rifle from you, it is fair to say that you believe your life to be in danger. He tripped and fell. He gets hit with the skateboard. The same guy in the same motion hits him with the skateboard, tries to grab the rifle by the nozzle from him and pull it. Naturally, he's going to pull the trigger because A, he's a scared kid. B, he believes his life to be in danger. If that person who just hit him with the skateboard gets a hold of that weapon, he's liable. It's only logical to assume that that person is intending to shoot you with it. So he shot him.
At a second person here. The man with the skateboard appears to be hit in the chest.
Now this guy,
he discharged.
Here he shoots, right here he shoots this dude with the beige shorts right here in the backpack. Now, he's got something in his right hand.
Charges another shot towards this man with the beige shorts.
He shoots him in the right hand. This speaks volumes to me. The fact that Kyle Rittenhouse, 17 years old, as focused as he was, and having just that innocent green look on his face of just, I'm here to protect people, but I'm here to protect a community, small businesses. I have the means to do it, and I want to step up and do it because the police wish to God they could, but they can't. And I have the know-how, and I have the equipment to do it. That's his mindset. I'm not saying that that's what he should have done. I'm not even condoning that he should have been there in the first place. I don't think he should have been there in the first place. I don't think that he, I don't think that, I mean, everybody broke the law. Think about it. Anybody who's here, they're after curfew. They're after curfew. So
the sequence of events was also captured by a photographer standing on the other side of the street. Here's the.
There's something very interesting about the last guy who gets shot in the arm, which a lot of you in chat already know.
Man with the light jeans. He appears to kick the man with the rifle. The first two gunshots are discharged at this moment. The man in the hoodie appears to hit him with his skateboard.
Look, he's clearly got, boom. Look how nasty he caught him with that skateboard. Look at that overhead, just wham, right onto his shoulder and his back. And let me tell you something about that, man. Like, I grew up hanging around skaters, and let me tell you, skaters generally, they weren't scared of anybody because they had skateboards. they weren't scared of anybody because they had skateboards, and they were just waiting for the moment to just where they get to just take somebody's teeth out with their skateboard. It's just it's how it was. But the skateboard, it can definitely be a weapon. If one wanted to use it as a weapon, it can definitely be a very effective weapon. As you can see, it clearly is right here, as this dude who's, phased out here, fuzzed out, his face is clearly got a nice clean shot over his shoulder with that skateboard.
And tries to grab his weapon.
Now there it is. He's got a hold of the barrel, and it's pointed right at his chest. I mean, and it's strapped onto him. That's the thing. That's the dumbest move in the world. Like, it's strapped onto him. You're not getting that weapon out of him. It's not going to happen.
Discharges his rifle again. The man with the skateboard clutches his chest. Another man is in frame now. His hands are up. He's holding what appears to be a handgun. A final shot is discharged. Rittenhouse gets up, turns to walk north towards the gas station. Final shot is discharged. Rittenhouse gets up, turns to walk north towards the gas station. This man in a baseball cap is left holding his right arm.
You guys see what's in that arm? You guys see what's in his hand? No, my little red line is covering it, but
where he was hit. He appears to still be holding a handgun.
He's holding a handgun. And I want to point that out, man. This kid, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that was not an accident. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say once he shot the one dude with the skateboard, he said, okay, this is fucking serious. But I just probably killed that guy. I don't want to kill anyone else. And he shot the guy in the very place where he was holding his handgun. And as easy as I told you this weapon was to handle, it is not surprising to me that this boy who owns this weapon and probably has shot it for target practice many, many times, I think he aimed for his arm. I think he purposely shot him in the arm so he wouldn't have to kill him. Because he's already killed 2 people.
Gunshots continue to ring out. It's unclear where they're coming from. 20 seconds later, we see Rittenhouse run towards police vehicles. He waves and puts his hands up.
Hey, he just shot them. Hey, dude right here just shot them.
Police do not apprehend Rittenhouse immediately. According to authorities, the shooting resulted in 2 fatalities, and a 3rd gunshot victim was transported to a hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The next day, police arrested 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse in his hometown of Antioch, Illinois. He faces 6 charges, including first-degree intentional homicide. Kyle Rittenhouse's attorney said this in response to the charges. This was classic self-defense, and we are going to prove it. We will obtain justice for Kyle no matter how hard the fight or how long it takes.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking.
So, hold on. So, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, this kid, the one thing people aren't understanding, like, they're comparing all the wrong things to Columbine and school shooters and things of that nature. This kid didn't have any of that. Maybe the interest in weaponry, sure. Maybe the same age, sure. But this kid was not angry. There was nothing angry about this kid. I saw fear in this kid. I saw focus and I saw fear. Because every time he shot somebody, he was trying to get away. He was trying to run away. He's not the aggressor. This kid is not going to be convicted of first-degree murder. I can guarantee you that right now. He's already got a GoFundMe where he got a shit ton. The last time I saw it was over $100,000 for legal counsel. And you just heard the legal counsel is saying it's purely self-defense. And there's video footage, clear video footage of the fact that it's self-defense. Now, see, the far right sitting there trying to paint this kid out to be some sort of hero. I don't think he's a hero at all. He shouldn't have fucking been there in the first place. There's a curfew. He shouldn't have been there in the first place. I get why he was doing it. I commend him for the place in his heart where he felt the need to want to do that. I absolutely and totally commend this kid. Do I think he has the heart of a hero? Absolutely. I will proudly say that on this channel right here. He's no murderer. At least we have not seen any evidence of him being a murderer. Okay? A murderer with ill intent. He put his hands up as soon as it happened. The cops passed him by. Right? And the thing is his fucking mom drove him there and picked him up and took him home. His mom. You know, so that's a little Monday night movie on NBC right there. The mom picking it, dropping him off. Okay, honey, you know, be careful. It's just a little surreal. But there's so much video evidence. And I'm looking at a kid and I'm seeing nothing but a green kid who had fantasies of being a hero, you know? And he thought it through with a pure heart what it means to be a hero. He was like, I'm coming in there and I'm here to help people. And I'm armed and I will fuck somebody up if they get in my way of me trying to help people. Now, I don't think he was in the middle of saving anyone's life when this thing happened. I don't know. The fact of the matter is the person who got shot first chased him and he felt his life was in danger. So he shot him. Kyle shot Mr. Rosenbaum. And then a mob came after him and he ran, but he's armed with an AR-15. If I'm armed with an AR-15 rifle and I've got a mob of people with their faces covered and hoodies on chasing me, somebody's probably going to get shot. I mean, that's just how that is. Somebody's probably going to get shot. I mean, there's nothing other than the fact that any responsible adult will sit here and say none of those people should have been there in the first place. The protesters, nobody. So I don't see any justification in anyone dying here at all. But like it or not, what I saw was self-defense. I did not see a kid with any ill intent, any evidence of that. I saw evidence of the contrary. And then I saw people get shot. And I feel for these victims' families. But see, here's the thing is, like I said, I was saying earlier, I use the term victim very loosely. As I said, these people, all who got shot, were the aggressors. There's video evidence of it. Clear video footage that these people were the aggressors. Did they deserve to die? That's not what I'm saying. No, obviously not. But what I'm saying is, to call them victims, I don't know. So I'd like to see what anybody armed with an AR-15 assault rifle would do. I'd like to see anybody with who's armed in that situation being put in that situation and being chased by a mob. I'd like to see what you would do. But here's the thing. The other reason why nobody should have been there in the first place is because the police should have been allowed to be doing their job. So, the fact is, you have a shooting that took place. That's why people are protesting. People are protesting because this person was shot and he was shot by police. And I'm not here to talk about that case, so I'm not going to go any further than that. But people are angry about it. I'm not going to say whether it's rightfully so or whether it's not rightfully so. I'm not getting into that. That's not what we're talking about here tonight. But that's why people were there protesting. And this young man seemed to be for the protesters. He was even saying that he was here to help the protesters. He was here. Anybody who gets hurt, he's here to help. He wasn't looking at one side or the other. There was no indication of that, even in his little interview. Either this kid is a politician in the making, or he was just being a sincere kid and saying, anybody who gets hurt, I am going to be there to help them. And these guys are here to back me up to do it. He was the leader, dude. At least he was talking like he was. Yeah, these older men, the one guy was talking about how he was a veteran and he had, medical training from being a veteran. And this kid seemed to be calling the shots. So this kid, he's sitting there going, yeah, and they had a whole setup. They had people on the roof because they wanted that. You're going to protect the business from an elevated position. You've always got the advantage. I mean, that's any, war movie that you've ever seen in your life. Hell, they talked about that in the movie The Rock about Alcatraz when Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage had to stop Ed Harris from dropping a chemical bomb in San Francisco or whatever from Alcatraz. And it was like, we got you in an elevated position. So they knew tactically what they were doing. And they were set up to protect. But tragedy happened, man. Tragedy happened. Here's the thing. After the first 2 weeks of protests, and I'm being generous, but after the first 2 weeks of protests, I like to think that I have enough common sense that if I'm going to go and attend a protest, after everything I've been seeing on the news and after everything that I've been seeing on YouTube, I'd like to think that I had enough common sense that if I was going to attend a protest, there's the risk of me getting killed. People are getting killed. People are getting killed, and Democratic politicians are letting it happen. And that is something that I observe, not being on the left and not being on the right. Just being someone who really, really enjoys his liberty and freedom and rights. And I believe everyone has the same right to these rights and freedoms and liberties as I do. Everyone. So I think that's a powerful enough thing to be willing to die for and to be willing to kill for. And when people are rightfully angry, I get it. You know, people are rightfully angry, but some people, they're not. And the thing is things like this happen. I'm going to be honest with you. I have a really old friend of mine, a good friend of mine. Well, we were never that close, but we had a lot of things in common. As far as, you know, we're mostly Facebook friends, but we have hung out in person a few times when I was living in Miami because we had mutual, really good friends. And he was part of the same music scene I was, but a lot more well established. His band was really did real good popularity wise in the local scene there. But he posts something last night about Kyle. This is kind of what inspired me to do this. He posts something last night about Kyle Rittenhouse. And it was really negative, and it was really coming from a left perspective. You guys know me, and people in my Facebook life, people in my real life, a lot of them know I have a YouTube channel, but I don't ever like really go, you know, talk about it or push shit on anybody, especially most people don't even really know that I have it. And he most definitely doesn't know that I have this, I don't think so. But he's like, you know, Will, don't tell me that you are for this crap, you know? And I was like, well, I was like, my response to that was, have you seen the footage? And he was like, and he literally said, I don't need to see the footage. Now, this is not a guy who's in the true crime community or anything like that. So I didn't go off on him, and he's a good friend of mine, you know, and I love him. And I wasn't about to start going into how can you expect to analyze facts or form an opinion when you refuse to even look at the fact bubble. I didn't get into all that. I was just like, because I could see he was getting mad. And then he was like, for the sake of our friendship, just stop. Because I was like, I'm not saying that this kid is I'm not saying that this kid is a hero in the slightest bit. But if you look at the footage, it's self-defense. And he's like, no, he's a murderer. And then he got to a point where he was getting mad at me, and he thought that my opinion was going to affect us and affect our friendship. He was like, for the sake of our friendship, stop commenting right now. And I did. But this is the thing. And it made me make a post pretty much, and you know, kind of what I'm about to say here. The thing is I don't know, man. If you're the type of person who thinks that, because here we go, I'm also gonna lay something out for you folks. I'm gonna lay something out very personal. I have a family member that I'm very, very close to who is actually very, very pro Antifa. Could be a member of Antifa themselves, for all I know. We don't agree. But I love this person very, very much. We don't agree. We don't have opinions that are mutual in the slightest politically right now. But I would die for this person, and I would defend this person. It's family, you know? It's family. So when someone tells me that they're willing to sever, as if any of our history never mattered, and you're willing to sever and put an end to it all between us because we don't share the same opinions, I don't think it makes me an asshole to look at it from the perspective that, well, that's your lack of tolerance, and I don't have anything to feel guilty about. So I should look at you as good riddance if you think that whatever we have is so nothing that you're willing to break it off over a difference of opinions. So I say good riddance if that's who you are. And if that makes me sound cold-blooded, I'm sorry. But as I was saying before, the reason why I am so pro First Amendment is because my right to feel a certain way is a beautiful thing. Just as much as your right to feel a certain way is a beautiful thing. The fact that you get to do that is what's beautiful about it. And to me, it's not to be taken for granted. So that's where tolerance comes in. Yes, because I love you, because we're family, or because we're good friends for many years, I can tolerate the fact that you have opinions that I do not agree with. That's easy for me. It's a no-brainer. And if it's not for you, well, I pity you. I do. And I mean that. I mean that in the most non-condescending way possible. I absolutely pity you because I'd hate to know what that feels like, to be that to just throw something away that easily. So and I have not looked at chat like all night. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes The problem with today's climate, you cannot have a different opinion or the person won't be friends with you. You must adopt their opinion. Yeah. And see, that is the thing is you have this whole cancel culture thing too. And the whole cancel culture thing is censorship. That's all it is. I don't like censorship, man. And when I think about it, it's always been the left. Like, it's always been. Like, I mean, it was Tipper Gore that was trying to shut the Beastie Boys up. You know, it's because of her that those, warning explicit lyrics stickers ended up on tapes and CDs and records. You know, I mean, that was Al Gore's wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to shut people up, man. I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all. Oh, thanks, Elephant in the Room. That's pretty cool, man. I think. I don't know. I don't know. But I dig hanging out with y'all, man. This is always fun. But yeah, I'm just saying, man, from a like, if I'm talking about this like a true crime case, what do I talk about? I talk about like what they can use in my layman, in my non attorney ass, dumbass, my opinion. I think I try to look at what's going to get a conviction and what isn't, just based on past cases that I've paid attention to. And you know, I just don't see it happening, dude. And if he does get convicted of first degree murder, oh man, somebody's dirty. I'm going to say it right now. Somebody's dirty. If he gets convicted of first degree murder with that evidence, somebody is dirty. Somebody's in somebody's pocket. Because that is pure self-defense. Like, you know what a shit show that would cause? Do you know what would happen if that kid gets convicted of first degree murder with that footage? Do you know what's going to happen from that? I mean, you're looking at anarchy. You're looking at war. I mean, the way people are talking about this kid is crazy. I mean, I'm not both sides to me. I'm like, shut up. You're fucking both nuts. Like, seriously, like, this kid is not, he's not a murderer and he's not a hero. So both y'all shut up. So yeah, I don't see yeah, it's crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me. So, but it's simple. Like, as far as a true crime case goes, it's open and shut. It's self-defense. Did he break the law? Yeah. But no law that he broke in any way, shape, or form forfeited his right to defend himself. Oh, you're welcome, Bang Bang Kiss Kiss 007. Oh man, I've been thinking about this case for a good 24 hours, man, and I felt the need I needed to talk about it. I don't think he sees himself as that either, Billy. I don't think so at all. I think he sees himself as I think I'll go as far as to say that he probably feels really guilty about it. I can't imagine being 17 years old and living with the fact that I just killed two people. I don't think he honestly thought it through. But how do you mentally prepare yourself for that? For that experience? I've never killed anybody. And I thank God for that. I don't ever want to have to kill anybody. I don't want to live with that on my conscience. I don't want to be responsible for someone's fate. I mean, how often do we individually think about our own fate? Because I do sometimes, man. I do. Sometimes I just sit here and I think, like, am I gonna, like, when the time comes that I'm gonna be dead, you know? Like, how am I gonna be? What am I gonna be like? Am I gonna be a coward? Am I gonna cry? Am I gonna beg for my life? Is it gonna be quick and painless and I'm not even gonna know what happened? I mean, when you think about it, think about how at any given time you could just drop dead. That happened to somebody I know just a couple days ago. Fucked me up a little bit. We weren't that close, but I known him for 30 years. I don't even need these anymore. Yeah, I've known this guy for like 30 years. And he's gone. And I have really close friends that are a lot closer to him than I was. And I just got in. Dude, this guy, we had this Facebook exchange because I mean, I don't know. I think he drank quite a bit because I mean, during quarantine, he made a video of himself shooting people with an airsoft gun from his window because they weren't wearing masks outside. And I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I think that's exactly how I worded it. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And, you know, and then like we had words, but they weren't like heated. It was just like we were in middle school again, just talking shit to each other. That's all it was, you know. Still love the guy. But I was like, my man, like, how are you going to shoot people out of your window with an airsoft gun, you know? And then I would like, every time we had some sort of like exchange and he tried to like, I would use that. I'd be like, I'm not the one who was shooting people with an airsoft gun out my window, was I? And I'd be like, oh, shut up. You know, so I think he was just drunk and that was just a moment that he had, you know? But like just a couple days ago, just his heart gave, dropped dead, man. That's all there was to it. That's all they wrote to Jesse. That's it. And it never, you know, it never fails to fuck with you. Like when you're an adult and you've lost so many people, it never fails to fuck with you. Like it always fucks with you the same way. And I think the reason why is because we have no idea what to expect of it ourselves. I think that's what freaks us out. And I think the bigger part of that actually is the fact that we care for the people around us that it affected. It never gets easier watching them go through that kind of pain. It never gets easier knowing that they have to watch you go through that pain. So, guys, I'm going to call it. I love you guys very, very much, and I had a very, very good time with you, and we will probably be doing this again this weekend. But regardless of that, we will be doing this again very soon, my friends.